These are available in your chat. If you want, you can use it. Open your project, come to the browser, book management. We have stored the data. List was happening. Delete was happening. Right. Saving was happening as well as delete was happening. Now this data, whichever the data we are storing here, the concept of Redux is store your data one place, it will go to the store, and once the data gone to a store, you can access anywhere. That is the formula of Redux. It's your component only, your Redux, your React only, everything same, only the extra feature is you store your data in a Redux under the store, and once it gone to a store, you can access anyhow, anywhere throughout the, you can access anywhere throughout the project. Now suppose in book component we are saving the data, we can go to the all Redux data and we can display here. We can display here. Okay. We can display here the book list. So let's come to the file called all.js file. All.js file. We have to import here one line that you have written in book.js file. Which line? This line. Import use dispatch. Dispatch is not required there. We need there only selector. Selector used to bring the data from a store. Selector used to bring the data from a store. So you can import here use selector from Redux, React Redux. After that, it const all book equal to use selector. State is the main container. State dot book list. Okay, all book. Okay, state dot book list you can call. It will give you all the data from the book. You are calling a reducer inside the state. Under the store, your data is under the state, and who is maintaining? A reducer is maintaining. Book ready. Come down below. Print here the length of the book. All book dot length. Check now. Are you getting the length? Length should come here. 5 length is coming for me. Go here. Use the map function. All book dot map. Name of the book. Index of the book. Return. Equal to index. Formula td. Follow one more td. You will see whichever the books you have stored under the book.js file, you can access under the all.js file. Because your data is storing under the store, it is not storing under the component. Data is storing under the Redux store. It is not storing under the component. Let me see again. The list of books are coming here. If you go to the again book component, add new record, that should come here. Let me know, are you getting the list here or not? Hmm. Write properly, think and then write. Now how error will come. If you refresh the page, data will go. It is not storing permanently, it is storing temporary only. Data is not storing permanently, it is the temporary storage. Okay, hope book list is coming. Now next we need to work on user page. In React, when you are using the component, when you go from one component to other component, page will not refresh. Page will not refresh. But if you reload the page manually, definitely it will go. See, I come to the all Redux data. We can see here list of books. I can go here, add one more that is coming here also. Node that we have added. If I come to the all, you can see here those data also here. That is the main feature of Redux. If you store the data one place, your data will go to the store of Redux, and then anytime in any component you can access it. Just you should not reload the page manually. That is the condition. I have shared the file in the chat. If anyone has error, they can use that file. Next, we need to work on another component. Okay, that component is called user. Here we have multiple values, three values. We have this three value we need to send to the Redux. Okay, so come to the user component dot js file. You require to import here use dispatch and use selector. Okay, next after that come down below, create the object of dispatch and selector. Use dispatch. Similar way, under the user reducer, you can see your function is called user list. It is going to return all the user list. We will be calling here user list. L is capital. Const all user equal to use selector. Inside that, state will be the main container using fat arrow. State dot user list you are calling. State dot user list you are calling. Okay, next after that, let's write a variable or use state we have not called. Please call the use state on the top. Constant full name, nickname, use state, next constant, mobile or education, pick edu, use state, const, pick mobile, use state, next constant, save, right arrow function. Now this fat arrow function is going to return the value. How it will return? You will create a variable info equal to, under the info we will mention the type colon, the action type, new user, below user info, flower bracket, name will come from full name, edu will come from education, mobile will come from mobile. This becomes a multi-dimensional array. Name edu mobile, coming down, we have to clear the text boxes. Clear the text field. Pick name, empty. Pick edu, empty. Pick mobile, empty. Next, after that, return info variable. Info variable, what it will return? Info variable will return action type as a new user, and details of the user will be available under the user info, where name, edu, mobile, like is a multi-dimensional array. You will be returning from here college info. Whenever someone will call the save function, it will return the info variable holding the type action will be new user and user info will be this all the details. Next, after that, complete this, let me know, then we can come down below. Right till save function. Okay, hope added function, save function. Let me share util here. Okay, then I'll move next. Hope you have written on change. Call pick name. Hello equal to that full name variable you can call here, so that it will help you to clear the full name pkdu pkdu. We can call here education. This code what you are writing is the functional component everything. Earlier also we were used to create the array, and then we used to do here a spread operator we were using earlier in the only React, but we are not using a spread operator now to send to the state. From here, this data we are saying, okay, return what? Info means type of action as well as user details. To whom? Reducer. Reducer will send to the store. Pick mobile. Mobile. The mobile or mobile number, mobile. Pick mobile. Then you have a save button. On click, you have to call here. On click, you will call here that dispatch. Under the dispatch, we need to call the save function. So once you click on send to store, save function will return the user info. That user info will be then given to the dispatch, and dispatch will give to the reducer. The reducer will update into the store. Dis ch, add it here. After this paragraph, you can print the length also. How many users you got? Total users on user dot length. Oh, completed. Check now what is the length. Total users are 0. Total users are 0. Now see under the store what are the details you are sending. Name, edu and mobile. 3 things you are sending. Name, edu and mobile. So this data we can list also here. Come down and follow the map. All user dot map. You can write here. You can click on user, comma, index. You can write here full return tr, follow the key property, index first we can print, second we can print user dot name, third we printed user dot edu, fourth you need to print user dot mobile, See, in that, these all are the functional component code. These all are functional component code that you have studied already. Only one line in that for the Redux. Instead of storing the data under the state, call the use selector and use dispatch. With the help of use dispatch, send to reducer. With the help of use selector, fetch from the store directly. Two line are extra. Here you used to write info.concat for a spread operator. Instead of that, now you are not storing here. You are returning from here. Save function says, okay, take this, store anywhere. Redux will capture that and store under the state. So hope you have written this listing part. Out of 21 people, 20 people. One is myself. Out of 22 people only have written and they are writing. Others, no reply. Okay, let me go ahead now. So in this file, everything you have done. See, to save the time and finish on time, you have to reply in the chat. If you will not reply, I'll keep waiting. You have written, write one line completed. Okay, so this is done here in the user file. Now we have to go to the reducer. We have a file called user reducer. User reducer. Go to the user reducer and see here what are the things you are sending. We are sending type as a new user and user info. Two things you are sending. User and user info. So go to the user reducer again. In user reducer, you will write here if action dot type double equal to new user. Action dot type is new user. Action dot type is new user. Then push function will work here. Concat will not work. Even is a multi-dimensional array. So old state dot push function we have to call. In that we have to pass action dot user info that you are sending from there. Action dot user info. If you want to see, I'll show you. Under the user file, you are sending two things. Type as a new user and info. User info is holding complete object of name, email, name, education, and mobile. Same to where user reduce. Next, after that, this is for the adding purpose. we can send one more request for deleting purpose. If action.type double equal to delete user, then old state array dot splice, inside you have to pass action dot user index. We are not sending as of now, but we will send it, and comma 1. So the first portion become for the saving purpose, second if become for the deleting purpose. I will share you this 2 line of code. Both the if section I shared. So this is the only extra thing. This is the only extra file you have created. If you compare normal React and Redux, this is one extra line we have created. If you keep this file, if you compare React and Redux, now this file is not allowing your component to store the data in a state. This file is saying, give me the data, I will send your data to a store. Give me the data, I will send your data to a store, so that your data will become global data. In any component you can go and easily you can access and you can use it. You don't have to use the props here. You remember, through props we used to send the data from one component to other component. We used to follow the props properties. Through that we were sending the data. Now props is not here. Okay, directly you take the data from user, give to reducer. The reducer will give to the state. State will be under the store, and finally in any component you can call the use selector, and using use selector you can call your reducer. The reducer will give you the data, which data you have spent. Yes, so hope you have written till here. Now we will come to the check. Now your data is saving and listing or not. Go to the page, enter the new value, click on save button. Number should increase and it should come under the list also. Number should increase and it should come under the list also. Right here, ABC, education, MCA, mobile number. You can see it's coming under the list. Maybe education, MA, mobile. Check like this. List is happening. If you go to the book page, store the book data. Store the book data. You saw I stored here few details. If I go to the user page, I can see the user data. If I come to the book page, I can see the book data. Even I am going from one component to other component. I'm going from one component to other component. We are not losing the data. See that? Are you losing the data? No. That is the feature of Redux. When I go to the all user, I can see list of books is here. That is the feature of Redux. In case if anyone asks why use the Redux, you can see in normal React, when we go from one component to other component will lose the data. But in the case of Redux, when you go from one component to other component will not lose the data. Why? Because data will not store within the component. Data will store out of the component. That is called a store, a Redux store. So while filling the data, we will give to the Redux. While fetching the data again, we can fetch from Redux. That is out of your React, not inside the React. Separate library you have installed. Right. So hope it is happening. I will share you the file, reducer file also, as well as user file also. User.js came to your chat. Reducer.js also. User reducer also came to your chat. Let me know. Data is saving. If saving, then we have to go to the all.js file and we need to display in all.js file also. Okay, hope ready. Now you can see here you are fetching this data from the store. You can copy this line again and come to the all.js file, because in all.js file you are fetching the data from the uh, reducer only, but book reducer. You have to fetch from user reducer also. Then you can display here. So this line you required again. Copy this. Come to the all reducer. In all reducer, you can add it. All.js file. You can see this line what is doing. Fetching data from a store. Here also fetching data from a store. Okay. So your component file was sending the data to reducer. Reducer has given to a store. Now again you are asking the reducer, hi reducer, give me my data. The reducer will say data is not under me directly. Data I have given to the store, that is a store under the state variable. So from a state, the reducer will get the data and finally it will give to where? All user. So hope you wrote this line, write it. Next, after that, go to the user page and the table you have created just now. Table you can, T body you can copy, not T body even, this map function. map function what you have written, you can copy and add under the all user.js file. Under the T body, you can add it. Under the T body, you can add it. Check now, you should get the same data. On the top, you can print the length of that, all user.length. All user.length. Okay, you will find your data will appear in both the component, all user also, as well as wherever you have a store there also. This is coming here. If you go to your user component, you can see this data. If you come to all user, you can see that. So common what we understood by Redux. You got some idea or not? Tell me honestly, yes or no. Redux what is doing? Redux is saying like, component, please don't store your data. You give me. I will keep your data somewhere else safely. Now, when you go from one component to other component, you should not lose the data. If you are holding yourself, you will lose it. But if you give me, I will not allow your data to lose. Whichever the component you want, you can access the data. Because data is storing under the central place. I have suggested you to watch some video from YouTube also. I don't know you have seen or not. If you see, then only come to know whether you understood or not. Okay, let us come next. We need to delete the data from the data from here. From where? From the user file. We will delete some data from the user file. Okay. So come to the reducer. Already, if you look into the reducer, user reducer, you have written a function. Action type is delete user. Then we have to pass the user index. Action type is delete user. Then we have to pass the user index. Then it will get removed from the array. Come to the user file. And first you write a function const delete account. Under the delete account, we will pass here user index. Or you can pass as index is also fine. Coming inside a variable info equal to type delete user, then user index, that index variable. If you remember in the functional component, we were writing here array.splice function. state dot particular dot splice, but you are not doing a splice here. A splice function you are doing under the user reducer. Return info. Write this delete user function, delete account function. Okay, delete account function is written. Come down. In the table, you have to add one more column, th action. One more td you add here for deleting purpose. A button, delete. Class name btn, btn hyphen danger btn hyphen sm. On click equal to, you have to dispatch the action in the, while dispatching the action, you have to call the function called delete account. Under delete account function, we have to call here index, because this data is not coming from database, data is coming from the array only. So to delete a record, you have to pass the index, their position, which position record you want to delete. So we are saying here, yes, call the delete account function, in that pass the index. Now delete account function will return the action and input. Action will be delete user and the input will be 0, 1, 2, 3. Now dispatch will happen to your reducer, user reducer. In user reducer, you have already written if action type is delete user, then run the splice function and delete the particular index position user. Simple delete will happen, and same time your page will get rendered. Available record will appear in the browser. Check now. Data is saving, listing deleting, and the same data, available data should come to the all.js file also. Okay, hope ready. Add a new user, save it, list will happen, try deleting. Welcome to the browser. We'll enter some hello, Alex, education is here. Yeah. The user added, it's coming here. Right. If I go to the book file, let me delete also one from here. Delete is happening. The same records will reflect under the all.js file. It's coming here. Data sharing is happening between two components via a store. User page is coming. Data is not losing at all. HTML I will add. CSS I will add. React I will add. Node I will add. Item will add. Right. If I go to the all user, I can see data is here. Book data is here. User data is here. Delete will also happen successfully. From book also we can delete. Here. See. So your all saving part, listing part, deleting part is happening through the Redux. React with the Redux. Now, what is the main principle of the Redux? Redux will not store the data within the component. It will not allow to store the data within the component. Redux will store the data out of the component. That is called a store. How to fetch the data from a store using the use selector. How to send the data to a store using the dispatch, use dispatch. Right. Action meaning is what? Suppose when we went here, we click on the button, click here, this becomes the action. When we enter the value here, click on save button, that becomes the action. Dispatch meaning is what? From this page data you are sending to a store, that is called dispatch. Correct. A store is nothing but day-to-day life you are using a storeroom where we can put lot of content. That is called a store. State is a global variable, global array that can hold the data and it can give anywhere. We can access anywhere. Okay. Now let me share you again these files. That is called user reducer, user.js file, and all.js file. Let me share the src folder also. If in case anyone has problem, they can use this file. Use state and use reducer. Who send the question? Use state we use under the functional component. Use state we use under the functional component, whereas use reducer you use under the Redux only. Without Redux, you cannot use the use reducer. src folder shared in your chat. Please download that. You can use it. I will send you the URL again for the Redux related material. The terms what people ask in interview and what you should remember. I have shared already in the group, but now I'll give you again in the group chat. can use that words. URL is shared in your chat. You can see here few lines. See, when we go for interview, in interview people will not ask you directly to implement the Redux. They will ask some theoretical question that should get remembered from here. Each and every like words is explained properly. Concept, what is of Redux, on which formula it work, how internally flow happen. Then what is the store that normally people ask. What is the action? Then what is the reducer? Okay, so these 3-4 words, if you remember properly, scenario wise, then you can answer. Like suppose people ask you why we can use the Redux, why not only in React? You can say like suppose I have a form, I have some place where I have common data, I have taken from user. Now that common data I want to use throughout the project. I have to send to the backend. Then backend will return me back whenever we required. API call I have to do again and again. To avoid that problem, we can use the Redux. We can take the data from user and we can give to the Redux. The Redux will hold it. We can go to any component, whichever the component we want to access the data, we can bring from there, from the Redux store. If I'm not using the Redux store, I have to use the props, where we can pass the data from one component to other component. But again, while using the props, if there is a nested component, component inside component inside component, that will be impossible. So best option will be what? Store the data globally somewhere, and from there we fetch and do the work. Right? Other example you can give, when we fill the form on internet, multiple forms will be there. We can fill all the forms and finally we can click on submit. So when first form will click, it will say go next. After filling the form, we can pass the data to a store. After filling the second form, we can pass the data to a store. After filling the third form, we can pass the data to a store. Finally, at last page, we can display the details of all the data, something like this, and we can provide a submit button, submit now. Then this entire data we can hand over to server in the single spot. In that scenario also, you can use the Redux. Okay, so you can explain in this way. Hope it is clear. You have downloaded the Redux, this one, the folder, src folder. Then